you've repeatedly said that the idea of tariffs is also to protect the European industry. So is the Commission considering that during these 90 days there's something additional to do to protect the steel and aluminium industries if you're not taking countermeasures? And are you asking the Americans to also pause the tariffs that you were replying to? Thank you.
Look, we've said from the start that we want the Americans to drop all their tariffs. We've been very clear on that. We've called on them explicitly to do so because, as we've said from this podium many, many times, we believe that they're counterproductive, harmful, that they harm industry and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic and have a negative impact on the overall global economy, which I think we can all agree at this point that they do. And on your question about EU industry, again, I can only repeat what we said from here before. We're in constant dialogue with EU industry and our member states. So, we're talking to them in the most detailed way possible about what the challenges are here, where the risks may appear, and how we'll react to those. So the President set up strategic dialogues on the auto industry, pharma, steel and aluminium, and as well as that, she announced earlier this week that we will set up a task force to look at the issue of trade diversion, so that we have all the, I would say, building blocks in place to ensure that we can spot problems early and hopefully put in place proper solutions. And there are always the possibilities of additional safeguard measures as and when that becomes necessary.
I'll take one more question in the room, then I come back to you, but there's still questions in Interactio as well. Yes.
Hello, Thomas Mann Nielsen at Euractiv. I have a question about the statement that came a few hours ago by Ursula von der Leyen, Commission President von der Leyen, where she spoke about a zero-for-zero tariff agreement, but she didn't mention a zero-for-zero tariff agreement on industrial goods. And Friedrich Merz said yesterday, he spoke about, or he said we should set all tariffs at 0% on transatlantic trade. So the question is, is the Commission considering broadening the scope of the zero-for-zero tariff agreement so it doesn't just include industrial goods, but other goods that are not industrial? Thanks. So,
it's a fair question, but right now we're focused on what we can start with. So, start small, build it up. So when we talk about zero-for-zero on industrial goods and cars, we believe that would be an excellent place to start. And then maybe we can look at other options. So, you've heard me say a lot that all options are on the table as regards trade defence. But it's also true that all options are on the table as regards, potential deals that we can make with the US. And we're starting with zero-for-zero on industrial goods and cars. And absolutely we could look at other areas going forward. But that depends on the other side being willing to engage in a meaningful way. It takes two to tango.
Thank you. I will now I'll come back to the room, but now we'll take a few questions from your colleagues that are connected through Interactio. We go to Susanna Freisjes.
Thank you. Just turning on my camera so you can see me. Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just want to insist on one specific point, because Olaf, you said a few days ago that the Commission was preparing a plan to respond to the reciprocal and the tariffs for cars. I just want to understand. I understand that everything is on pause, but even these kind of preparations, they are on pause, or as a plan B, you keep looking at different options. Thank you.
Look, at this point we can't say anything more. Everything is paused. Our preparation work continues. We keep talking to our member states. We keep talking to our industry. But we're not going to go into further detail today because that's not where we're at this point in time.
Thank you. David.
Yeah, you've said that you've pressed the pause button, and you've just said now everything is paused. Can you, in very basic terms, tell us, so the 2018 and the 2020 rebalancing measures are paused, and all the other countermeasures that were agreed are paused. Everything is paused, as you say. Can you confirm that?
Daffy, there's only so many ways I can say everything is paused. Everything is paused. And we can't say anything more for now. So, with respect, I can't keep answering variations of the same question. Everything is paused. If there's any other questions that are related, hit me.
And of course, as is also explained by the President, if negotiations are not satisfactory, countermeasures will kick in and preparatory work on further countermeasures continues. I go back to Interactio. Sorry, guys in the room, you'll have another moment, but first your colleagues on Interactio. Virginie. Virginie.
Vous m'entendez?
Oui, mais on aimerait bien te voir. Ah oui, tu es là.
Bah, je suis là, ouais.
Parfait.
Je voudrais savoir, depuis que Donald Trump a décidé de mettre sur pause ses droits dits réciproques, à qui Madame von der Leyen a-t-elle parlé? Je parle des chefs d'État. A-t-elle parlé à M. Macron, à M. Merz, Madame Meloni? Enfin bon, bref, je ne sais pas. Donc, première question, à quel chef d'État et de gouvernement a-t-elle parlé? Deuxième question, donc j'ai bien compris que tout était en pause. Est-ce que ça veut dire que l'Union européenne va négocier avec les États-Unis uniquement sur la partie complémentaire des droits réciproques dont nous menacent les États-Unis, c'est-à-dire les 10% supplémentaires, et donc, d'une certaine manière, prend sa perte, c'est-à-dire là, je parle des droits acier, aluminium, voiture et 10%, parce que bon, ça fait quand même beaucoup tout ça, et donc ça, on considère qu'en fait, c'est le minimum et qu'on va vivre avec ça et que les négociations portent sur le reste. Donc ça, c'est ma deuxième question. Et ma troisième question, est-ce que vous diriez que les négociations avec les États-Unis ont commencé? Parce que, en fait, ou toujours pas. Merci.
Je vais peut-être prendre la première question que tu as posée concernant les contacts avec les chefs d'État. Comme nous l'avons expliqué à plusieurs reprises ici dans la salle de presse, la présidente est évidemment en contact régulier avec les chefs d'État. Il s'agit d'un dossier extrêmement important, évidemment, où il est très important d'avoir un feedback et des discussions avec les chefs d'État. Je ne peux pas te donner des noms particuliers maintenant, mais évidemment, nous continuons, comme la présidente l'a encore souligné dans le statement d'aujourd'hui, à consulter avec les États membres, les chefs d'État, évidemment, avec l'industrie, tous les secteurs concernés, etc. Merci. Pour les autres questions?
Ok, merci Virginie, mais j'ai pas grand-chose à dire au-delà de ce que je viens de dire. Au niveau des mesures qui sont mises en place par les États-Unis, on est prêt à tout négocier, mais on a dit et on répète qu'on aimerait bien que les États-Unis enlèvent ces premiers tarifs pour qu'on puisse avoir des négociations plutôt positives pour trouver des accords dans beaucoup de sens. Et pour ta troisième question, est-ce que les négociations ont commencé? Le truc, c'est que le commissaire Šefčovič a rencontré plusieurs fois ses homologues américains. Il a parlé avec eux beaucoup de fois. Et là, pour lui, c'est l'objectif, c'est de faire en sorte qu'il y a un rapport, qu'il y a de confiance entre les deux côtés, pour que, au moment que les vraies négociations commencent, on a le base le plus solide possible pour que ça passe vite. Donc, j'espère que ça te donne une réponse.
Merci beaucoup. Je prends maintenant la question de Jacob. Jacob, du Handelsblatt.
Merci à tous les deux. Je voulais demander la pause de 90 jours. Est-ce qu'elle est seulement parce que Donald Trump a posé ses droits de douane, ou est-ce que vous avez eu des contacts qui sont encourageants, et donc est-ce que vous pensez que la situation est différente maintenant et qu'une négociation sera possible? Ou est-ce que c'est seulement ce que Trump a dit publiquement? Parce que l'offre de l'Union européenne, elle est sur la table depuis plusieurs mois. Donc voilà, est-ce que vous avez eu une réponse plus positive ces derniers jours? Et une autre question, Donald Trump a dit hier qu'il voulait des accords avec des États membres de l'Union européenne, un par un ou individuel. Il a dit des accords avec chaque membre de l'Union européenne. Je sais que l'Union européenne négocie pour tous les États membres, mais est-ce que vous pouvez me dire clairement si cela est une option ou non?
Merci beaucoup. Sur cette deuxième question, je pense que je peux dire clairement que la Commission a la compétence exclusive pour négocier dans le domaine commercial. Donc ça, c'est une compétence exclusive sur base des provisions de notre traité. Et donc, il revient à la Commission de faire ce type de négociation. Sur les autres questions?
Merci, Jacob. Pour ta première question, cette pause qu'on vient de faire, c'est vraiment pour créer un espace pour que les négociations avec nos partenaires américains puissent continuer de façon plus positive et plus efficace que possible. Et on ne peut pas dire plus à ce stade-là.
I will take one more question from Interaction and go back to the room. Hendrik.
Hi, Henrik Kafzak, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. Just coming back to this pause, I'm still not quite clear about what happens after the pause. When those 90 days are over and there's no agreement, will the countermeasures all kick in immediately, meaning also the ones that were supposed to be kicking in at the 16th of May, 15th of April, or will this be step by step again afterwards? And to be clear about your contacts, I do understand it correctly that at the moment there are no contacts whatsoever ongoing. It's just that you're hoping that now there's a chance to negotiate.
Thanks, Hendrik. For your second question, no, I did not say that no contact is ongoing. Contact is ongoing constantly. I said that there were no in-person meetings foreseen at this moment, but that can change at short notice. There has clearly been very regular contact between the EU and US at a political level on this issue, and that will continue to be the case. And on your first question, so just to be totally clear again, legally speaking, the countermeasures for which our member states gave us a mandate yesterday will go ahead, but we will suspend them with the second legal act. And that gives us a space of 90 days to negotiate with the Americans. In the absence of successful outcomes, the measures will then kick in after the 90 days. Yes.
I go back to the room. David.
Thank you, David Carretta, Radio Radicale. Two questions. The first one is on the WTO. Are you going to open a consultation at the WTO on all the tariffs that are still in place, so aluminium, cars, and 10%? If not, why? Since you are defending rule-based international order also in terms of economic order. And the second question is more political, so I don't know if you have the margin to answer. What's the credibility of the main market in the world saying for months we are ready to answer in a firm and proportionate way, and then suddenly, even if someone is acting against the rules, imposing tariff and maintaining tariff, 25% on steel, 25% on cars, 10% on so-called reciprocal, suddenly, just because they are saying we will pause for 90 days, not because you are offering something, but just because of the market's reaction, you say, okay, we will pause too. Don't you think that there is a problem of credibility of the EU? Thank you.
perhaps there's the question of credibility to your eyes, David, but I assure you that that is not the case for our member states, for our industry, for our trade partners around the world who are lining up to sign trade agreements with us because they know that we're stable, reliable, predictable, we follow the rules. So I disagree with the premise of your question fundamentally, and I think you can see that our action in this saga from the start has been consistent, calm, clear, and will continue to be the case. And on your first question in relation to the WTO, yes, that's certainly an option, and that's something we will consider. But right now things are paused to allow space for negotiations with the Americans. But that option is certainly something that we can turn to as and when necessary.
Thank you. Very clear. In the back, yeah.
Thank you. Adi Stemerding, NOS Public Television from the Netherlands. Wondering whether this 90 days period, is it a fixed period? Or could you imagine if things don't go the way the EU wants, it could be a 60, 30, whatever day period?
Thanks for your question. Look, this thing is changing day by day, hour by hour. So let me deal with it day by day and hour by hour. And I'm not going to, at this point, speculate about what might or might not happen after the 90 days. I'm more worried about what might happen in 90 minutes. So let's just deal with one thing at a time.
Thank you. The light of a spokes. Yes.
Hi, thank you. Edith Hancock with Dow Jones. I had a question. I apologise if this was actually clarified earlier, but we were talking about the phone call that Šefčovič had with his counterparts a few days ago. Was there any foreshadowing that the US might be seeking to pause its reciprocal tariff move there? Did the EU have any notice? I mean, like, judging by the length of the statement you guys just put out, I don't know. It seems like everything was quite short notice, but I'd love a little bit more insight into that discourse.
Forgive me, but I'm not going to provide any more insight beyond what I've already said. Commissioner Šefčovič had a call with Secretary Lutnick 2 nights ago. It was really a kind of a touching base call, just to kind of, for both sides, to provide a state of play. I don't believe that any mention of the American pause was forthcoming in that call, but then I doubt that the interlocutor was aware that it was coming. I could be wrong about that, but that's just my own reflection. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Koen Verhelst for Politico. Considering that the US still has major tariffs in place on steel, aluminium, and cars are not really responding to, but the tariffs you have announced and voted on yesterday through the member states, they are responding to steel and aluminium. While these 25% is still ongoing, why would you remove these? Why would you pause these now? Wouldn't it add more pressure on the US if you would keep them in place? Thank you.
Koen, thanks for your question, but we're very satisfied that our strategy to date, right now and going forward, is the right one. And I'm not going to provide any more sort of analytical assessment of why we're doing what we're doing. We're doing what we're doing because we believe it's the right course of action. We're talking to our member states, we're talking to our industry, we're talking to our partners around the world, and we're quite calm and confident about the fact that we're doing what we're supposed to do.
I'm going to take another few questions from Interactio, and then I'll go back to the room. Mose.
Thank you, Stefan. It's not at all about the tariffs. As announced, can I go on with that question? It's foreign affairs.
No, let's. We'll keep you in the fridge for a moment, a pleasant fridge, nevertheless, and we'll get back to you later. Thomas. Thomas? Maya?
Can you hear me?
Yes, and we see you. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is very short. You said before that the Commission is prêt à tout, if I understand that, if I took that right. So my question is on the attitude or the circumstances of those talks with Washington. We heard yesterday the US President saying that the whole world is kissing his ass. So what did you communicate to them? Do we kiss the ass, or did you ask for talks on at eye level?
It's one of these questions where I'm happy to pass the floor to Olaf.
Really, I think to this question I have to offer a polite no comment.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right. Magnus.
Thank you. You see me and hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, Magnus.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's going back to Koen's and David's question. Since we were essentially pausing the tariff that was put on steel, aren't we rewarding the behavior that Trump has sort of exposed the world for over the past week by folding to this in some sense? No.
No is the answer to your question. We are satisfied that our strategy from day one has been the right one, in the sense that it has been calm, coherent, structured, patient, targeted, and at all times carried out in close consultation with our member states and industry, which has allowed a very, very striking degree of EU unity on this question. That unity is what gives us our strength at home, around the world, and particularly when it comes to tough negotiations. We will continue to operate on this basis.
Guys, as you see, I think we have more or less said what we can say. There's not a lot we can add to what we've said, but so we can reformulate what we've said in different beautiful ways, but okay. No, yep. First you. I'm
sorry.
No, you can go.
Okay, so okay. It's a short one. When Emmanuel Macron went to China 2 years ago, he invited President von der Leyen to join him. And the next year, when he received President Xi in Paris, he invited her to join him in Paris. So wouldn't it have been a good idea for President Sanchez to invite her on his trip to China this week? And do you think it would be a good idea for Prime Minister Meloni to invite the President next week when she flies to DC?
Thank you very much. Listen, I can only reiterate what I said, that the President is, of course, in close contact with the different heads of state when these meetings take place. They are coordinated with the President, so I don't think there is any further elements I should add at this stage. Yes.
Thank you. I just want to defend other journalists and myself. Unjustified tariffs on the EU will not go unanswered. They will trigger firm and proportionate countermeasures. So the questions that have been raised here were justified in being asked. You haven't given the right responses, that's okay, but I'll go to my question. I want to know, in terms of the talks that Šefčovič has had with his counterparts, I know that you can't go into the details, but I just want to know, because what we've been getting from the team has been so little, you know, has there been a positive air that, you know, like Tuesday, was it a call that actually, you know, you're hearing the sounds of there could be a deal, and so as a result, that's why you're taking these steps? Like, we're kind of working from ignorance here, so this is why we're really pushing.
Razia, your comments are well noted, but we will tell you what we believe is as much as we can transmit. And so, with respect to you all, I have answered your questions about our strategy. We believe it's the right one. Whether you agree or disagree, that's a personal choice for you to make. We believe it's the right one, and our member states, who voted by near unanimity to support our position yesterday, clearly think the same. And if you look at what our industry has been saying, I think it's broadly fair to say that they agree too. So we are going to continue on the same trajectory. We believe the choices we are making are the right ones. Let's see how it plays out.
And we, of course, fully sympathise with your interests in this extremely important file, without any doubt, which is one of the reasons why we try to keep you as informed as possible throughout the whole process. But you will also understand that the press room is not a negotiation room where we do the negotiations. There are other places to do that, but in the meantime, of course, we continue to keep you informed on the state of play. There in the back. Guys, we'll have to start stopping, but yes, in the back, yeah, the gentleman in the back.
sure I'm a gentleman, but I think my colleague had a question for quite a while. And then I have a non-tariff but trade question, if I may, before I stop.
Oliver, I will put you in the same fridge as Mose for a moment. I go to your colleague.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you also. Elena Apostolidou from Hellenic Broadcasting Corporation. I have two questions. President Trump agreed with Greek Prime Minister's view that a win-win trade agreement can be reached. What is the Commission's view? And the second question. I'll wait. I have two questions. Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
I can continue. The Energy Commissioner told the Financial Times that the European Union would consider buying more gas from the US amid growing pressure from President Trump's tariffs. What does this mean in practice? Thank you.
On your first question, I don't think I fully understood, but can you repeat the first question? Do you mind?
Yes, President Trump yesterday agreed with the Greek Prime Minister's view that a win-win trade agreement can be reached. What is the Commission's view?
Yes, that is the Commission's view also. We believe that a win-win trade agreement can be reached, and we want to reach one as soon as possible. And on your second question, speaking under the control of my colleague Anna Kaiser, to be very clear about the LNG issue, the LNG issue didn't suddenly arise because President Trump mentioned it a few days ago. We have talked about LNG and energy in general as an area that we are happy to discuss in greater detail with the Americans since President Trump won the election in November. And I think it's really important to bear that in mind. So we've been saying all the time that it's one of the areas that we can at least look at and talk about in to some degree. And I think it's fair to say that remains the case.
Guys, with your kind understanding, I'm going to stop the question reading on the tariffs. You know where to reach us. We're more than happy to answer these questions, but let's now take Oliver out of the fridge to handle his other trade-related question. And then we can leave Olof.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. My question is on Mercosur. Can you give us an idea where you are with it? It's, I think, now 4 months since the moment of glory in Montevideo. I think there needs to be some legal scrubbing, or what the term is, of the political agreement. How far are you there? And when do you think will you be in a position to present a text to the legislators? I don't know, the member states, the parliament, and so forth. And on top of that, do you actually plan to proactively reach out to those member states that are critical towards the agreement or opposed to it for the time being? Thank you.
Thanks, Oliver. So on your first question, the legal scrubbing is indeed ongoing. We like to make sure that the scrubbing is done very thoroughly and very well. The intention is to present a proposal to the co-legislators before the end of the summer. And on your second question, absolutely, we will be reaching out to all our member states, in fact, on an ongoing basis to discuss with them what we view as the very, very clear merits of the EU-Mercosur agreement from an economic point of view, from a geopolitical point of view. We will be listening to their concerns and trying to reassure them that we believe we have put all the necessary safeguards in place, for example, on sensitive agricultural issues. And we do believe that, as I mentioned earlier on, I think, in an unstable world, partnerships with trusted allies around the world with clearly defined rules for mutual gain are more valuable than ever. And I think our member states will be very receptive to that argument, particularly given the turbulence we see all around the place at the present time.
Thank you. And with this, I would like to thank Olof for his clarity, stamina and energy. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to ask a question on President conversation with Premier Li Keqiang. Since the President at the beginning of February made a speech saying basically that we should restart possible negotiation on agreements on investment and market access and so on. Yesterday there was the call. Has anything changed in your strategy toward China after the announcement yesterday by President Trump and the request that it's quite clear from the US administration to act together toward China? Thank you.
Thanks for your question, David. You know, it's very important to insist on the fact that when it comes to the European Union's approach to our dealings with China, nothing especially has changed because of the current, let's say, turbulence arising from what's happening in the US. We've been very clear for a number of years that while our objective is to strengthen and improve the EU-China trade and economic relationship, there are some issues that we need to see addressed as part of that improvement, relating to market access for European companies in China, relating to trade barriers and the unlevel playing field. You've heard us say from this podium before that our approach is de-risk, not decouple when it comes to China. That remains the case. So there certainly has been a healthy level of contact between the EU and China at political level in recent weeks. We're building up, we hope and expect, to a summit in the summer. So I think that makes perfect sense. Our approach remains the same and will continue to do so.
Excellent. And I again thank Olof for his clarity, energy, stamina and drive.